Third story, and then I'm excited to talk about Louis C.K. That's the fourth story too. That's a fun one. I like to talk about things people don't want me to talk about. That's where I get my kicks. And the more people get offended, the more fun I'm having. I started like making more gay jokes now. I'm super pro LGBT, and I have been. But now that people are getting super offended, it just makes it funnier to me. I'm sorry, that's a personal preference, but. The Yellow Vest movement. I want to talk about the future of the Yellow Vest movement. So it started in France as a rebellion against a lot of things, and we'll talk about that. People don't even know why it's happening, and it's pretty funny. But so it happened in France. They got the carbon tax removed. People started fires, but who knows if that was really the Yellow Vests or just some thugs, as the conservatives would call it. But jokes aside. So it moved to Belgium. They got the prime minister, I guess, basically removed. It's in Canada. People are saying it's coming to the USA. They're about to do a bunch of stuff here. I have a few things to say about why I like the Yellow Vest movement, but why I'm also cautious about it. It's like with anything. I say things, and even people within like Republican movements are going, not only why are you questioning that? It's like, because if you don't pay attention every step of the way, you're going to get played. Like, I support the Yellow Vest, but if they come to the U.S. and now there's millions of people dressed in yellow who are just burning stuff, it's like, we gotta ease our ground a little bit. So I personally think in France, and people don't agree with this on the left, but it is a movement. The Yellow Vests are the left and the right. They're mad at a lot of things. They're mad at the carbon tax. Some of them are mad at immigration. Some of them are mad at the elites, like progressives here. It's a good combination of all the right people who hate socialism, hate communism, hate high taxes, don't like Macron, don't like the wars, don't like the migration policy, don't like Angela Merkel being Hitler of Europe, calling all the shots, and Macron, little French Hitler. But they don't like all that. So the right wing is there, but also the left wing's there, because the progressive left, kind of like here, honestly, I hate to be mean, but it's probably just true. And I'm not saying everybody. There's always individuals and stuff and people with great points. But the progressive left, I see it as a metaphor of like Elizabeth Warren. She's always mad. Look at her. She can't even run for president and be happy because it's like a perpetual madness. And I think the psychology behind that, not everyone who's progressive, but I do think there is an element of that in that movement where it's like people think they're searching for something in politics that they can't even find in themselves. And it's like a cold, sad life where you live and you realize you have to change and fix yourself before the world makes any sense. And it's like the first step, very important outside of politics, but people don't want to do that. It's like the Elizabeth Warrenness, but progressives are upset too, because yes, there's high taxes. Yes, they have, health care that they want and stuff, but it's not working. You know what I'm saying? And they have Macron, who's not a Bernie type leader. He's more like a phony Hillary type leader. So progressives don't like Democrats. They don't like Republicans. They don't like this. They don't like that. They don't like Macron. So it's really strange in Europe and in France, because you do have the right wing and you have the left wing, and the truth is they're there for two totally different reasons, and they're getting along now, which is great, but they're not always going to get along. And here's the thing: when you crush a system, you then rebuild with the system. A lot of people, and not to be stereotypical, but I only know a little bit about this Hitler, he gained power from power vacuums. You know what I'm saying? He got rejected, and then he got in because things were going wrong. If you crush a system, you better hope the system you replace it with is better. That's why I protect America a lot now. It's not a perfect system, but looking around the world, comparing, I'm like, I'll take this one. Although I'm very critical of the food industry, the pharmacy industry, banking industry, there's some things that are weighing us down tremendously that we could fix. But overall, freedom-wise, personal liberty-wise, the ability to say and do what you want, America's up there. That's why I protect it. So with the Yellow Vest, what's the future of the Yellow Vest movement? I don't know how successful it's going to be. I don't know what it's going to do in America. And I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy, but when you have conservatives and progressives uniting, it's amazing. But when you have them trying to crush a power system and do completely different things, it's not going to really work out. Because what conservatives want to do in France is not what liberals want to do in France or progressives want to do in France. Everyone's just mad there. And here, a lot of people like Trump, the progressives that would join the Yellow Vest, like you have Jimmy Dore, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she's pointing to the Yellow Vest movement and saying, look, they're there for income inequality or something. She's using the Yellow Vest to push her agenda. But to me and to most people in France, that's what they're fighting against. Yes, they're fighting against the elites and the banks and stuff, but you got to figure out a platform, and it's really weird. So it's like I like the yellow vest for now, but I'm gonna be the first one to say, as everyone's celebrating it, it's gonna get weird because you have two people with totally different ideologies and somebody that's trying to like make France even worse. Like France is they're messing up in a lot of ways. What progressives would want to do, they'd say, keep the migration policy, keep doing that even though it's not working. Raise taxes, or at least they would say they'd lower them, but they'd be, we'll make the rich pay the taxes. So then they'd raise taxes on the rich, and all the big business in France would leave, and the whole country would turn into a ghetto very quickly because they don't understand how things work. They're like, we're going to take money from the rich, but what it would really do is just crush the middle class. Like the middle class is getting crushed, the lower class is getting crushed in France. Progressive policies is not an escape from that ideology. They think it is. Oh, Macron is bad, for sure. Neoliberalism is bad. Yes, it is. You're right. It's terrible. But what you would do is tear that down, the bad thing down, and you'd replace it, and you'd be even worse. You'd like raise taxes, and you'd be like, no, we're not going to raise it. But you'd out all these programs, and you don't understand how business works. Yeah, I get it. I hear you. I would love if everything ran by solar. But if you take away the oil industry, and now all that money stops coming, and then you raise taxes on the rich, and all those businesses leave, and then you need to pay for this $1 trillion program. You thought it was going to get paid for by the rich, but you just took all the rich's money with the oil. You thought it was going to get paid by the other rich businesses, but now they all left state, or they left the country to go to somewhere where it's more affordable and makes more sense. So now you have a $20 trillion program that you thought it would be very easy to pay for. Oh yeah, it's going to be super easy to pay for. We're going to get all the money from the rich, but you don't. So where are you going to get the money from? It's going to come from the middle class like it always does. In California, the middle class gets absolutely crushed. There is no middle class anymore. It's you're poor, or you're kind of poor, or you're doing kind of well, or you're doing really freaking well, and the government takes millions of dollars from you. Like there's no middle ground. That's what they do in progressive, socialist, liberal, and it's all the same. Neoliberals, yes, they're a little bit more dishonest and with their war agenda and stuff, but when it comes to their policy, progressive policies are not a better version of liberal policies. They're like a more radical version, and they always say this, it's such a radical idea for everyone to eat. Yeah, no, it's a radical idea because when you think everyone's going to eat and you realize it leads to 20 million people dying and everyone's starving and having no businesses and having a middle class that got completely gutted and all of society is just completely flopped because you have no common sense and nothing holding it together, then yeah, it is a radical idea. Not because because I don't want everyone to get health care. It's because I know what you mean by everyone getting health care means that you're going to take money from me, put on an individual mandate that I can't opt out of. So now that's $4,000 a year gone that I didn't want to pay and I wouldn't have paid and I don't have to pay because I believe in actual health, not eating a bunch of crap and then being sick all the time. And then they bring you in and they don't tell you why you're actually sick. And it's like a factory farm. I don't want to get sick. I don't have to get sick. People get sick because they feed into sick mentalities. They feed into sick ideologies. They feed into sick health routines that are not true, lied to by the FDA, the World Health Organization. And yeah, I don't want to have to pay for that. So I know they don't mean everyone's going to get fed. What they mean is they misunderstand how it works. They're going to claim to take the money from the rich. The rich are either not going to pay, go somewhere else, or pay a little dent in it. And then the other 95% is going to come from the middle class like myself, or a small business like myself, or any of these stuff. It's not a good idea. So the Yellow Vest movement, it's great, but it is a little weird to me, the fact that it's a peace, love, and progressives think they're going to use that movement to, justify higher taxes and carbon taxes and Green New Deals. Like, this is exactly what they're fighting against, and progressives don't want to admit that. It's pretty weird. That's an angle you won't hear, but hopefully the future's good. If they come to America, be very cautious too, because there's organizations, you guys know the names and the people, I don't need to say it, those who must not be named, will start pouring tens of millions of dollars for people to dress up in yellow vests and then start burning stuff. And then what happens? Oh, yay, we're burning our own cities? Like, I don't know why they were doing that in France. It was probably some other people. So you got to watch any sort of insurgency in our country, even if we agree with it, like, oh, the yellow vests, yeah, they're taking down the globalists, like, for sure. And I'm not speaking against them. They've done great work in Europe so far. And it is not, but like, just be very cautious and careful when you have an insurgency of any sort in your own country. So yellow vest wise, we gotta, just like I say with QAnon and other things, and people want to yell at me, but it's like any movement, no matter how good you think it is, from the liberal to the, act truther, You have to really contain yourself or else you'll go out of control. Before I move on, the liberal mindset. I know they're good people, some of them, most of them, because they're not trying to be bad people. Like, they're not trying to ruin everything, just like a progressive. It's just they think they're so good that they're like refusing to understand and learn and listen and grow and evolve and consider. So it becomes very bad. Like, certain progressives, liberals, they do very bad stuff, but they pretend to do good. Same thing as on the right wing. You know, you might think you're fighting for Trump or someone else, but if you're not a good person, does it really matter? Like, eventually you're going to do something wrong and you're going to replace that other person, and you're the new neocon now, starting the new war. So, you know, people don't want to hear this and they think I'm divisive or negative, and I'm not. I'm just trying to, including myself, question everything every bit of the way, because if you just let anything go unfettered, next thing you know, it's going to get hijacked by Open Society Foundation or something. And I'm not saying that's happening, but it could very easily if people just blindly follow anything. So just a rare way to talk about it that I think no one has. And I'm not saying for sure, just something to consider, because it's not out of the realm if the yellow vests make their way to the world or anywhere else. What's the end goal? How are they going to achieve it when you have some people getting rid of globalists for conservative values, some people getting rid of them to replace them with even more extreme progressive values? The fourth and final story of the day is about Louis C.K. It's a good guy.